Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to the demo for the Thaumaturge by Fool's Theory and 11-Bit Studios. And I have been all around this village twice, and I have not seen anything we missed. So I can only assume that we either missed it for good, or it's at the cemetery. And I'm really hoping it's the latter. That said, we'll head for the cemetery, we'll chat up Rasputin, and hopefully we can make a grave discovery or two. Perhaps get to the bottom of this cemetery plot.
Excuse me. I need to get to the local cemetery. Could you give me a lift?
I've only just come back from the post office this morning. I'm not getting the horse going again. Back to the cemetery? It's not like anyone there is gonna run away. Look, my horse is more dead than alive.
Coachman. The coachman doesn't want to take me to the cemetery. If I use my power, I should be able to change his attitude. Yeah, I guess that's a thing we could do.
I'll be right back.
Manipulation. Using Thaumaturge, you can manipulate other people. First, you must know a person's secrets, which you can learn by making conclusions. If the manipulation is available, the character interaction icon will change, and the Upir will appear next to the character. Yeah, I'm sure there's no long-term negative side effects of magically manipulating people's minds and bodies. I'm sure this is fine. Alright, so nothing on the horse, just these over here. Shovel. The shovel still showed traces of mud and ice. The coachman had to free the wagon's wheels from the soft soil that had engulfed them. Rags. The coachman used the rag to wipe the sweat from his forehead. The rag reeked with the sour odor of fatigue. Attempts to free the wheels from the soft soil made the spine crack like a fishbone, and the muscles burn with fire. And no one would help. Such was his job. Such was his fate. Yeah, that's just the service industry. Welcome to real life. The coachman is tired and weary. He's worked hard at unloading the wagon alone, and all he dreams of is a moment of rest. I can relieve his suffering. I feel like you could have phrased that so it didn't sound like you were about to execute him, but sure.
I'm not going anywhere.
But what if I ensorcel you?
Maybe you'll change your mind and drop me off at the cemetery after all.
Well, on the other hand, this place isn't much more exciting than the cemetery. I meant to take the horse out for a run, so get on.
I'm glad you had a change of heart, my friend. Even if I had to change it for you. All right, let's have a look around. Now, my first time here, I only spoke with Rasputin. I didn't find anything else, so this time I'm going to have an extra close look. Wait, are those moats over there? Aha! Elder Vasili's grave. Elder Vasili died only a year ago, and his tombstone has already been damaged. Why? Stone strikes against stone, heavy, guided by a hateful hand. The blows carry anger, despair, chaos. The tombstone cracks and crumbles, but it's not enough. Death is not enough. Vandalizing a grave is not enough. Nothing will ever be enough. Oh, that's not great. Okay, so someone clearly has a deep-rooted hatred or resentment for Elder Vasily, which could easily be what drew our Bukovac to this village. And then the Bukovac is what's causing the villagers to become ill-tempered and prone to violence. So we need to find out who had a grudge against the Elder. Let's chat up Rasputin.
You're alive. Does that mean I helped, Thaumaturge?
Yeah, I think he's earned our trust for now.
I don't have enough words, sir, to thank you for what you've done for me. I haven't felt this way in years.
I'm glad I could help.
I see him. My Uber. He's back. I can feel our bond growing stronger as each moment passes.
I'm happy for you, but do restrain your joy. We're in the cemetery.
Right. Sorry?
When I heard you were at the cemetery, I was sure I'd see you resurrecting the dead.
Not yet. Today I'm just praying for rest for Vasily's soul. The whole village is suffering after his loss. He was the elder here.
He cursed this place. Since he died, darkness and misfortune have hung over the village.
You see? To them, every harm comes down to witchcraft. They believe that after Vasily's passing, the village was possessed by some monster that howls at night or some other Yafiets.
I mean, they're not wrong. Doom. Locals say that since the death of the village elder, a doom has hung over the village. Minor quarrels immediately turn into bloody fights, and people are tense and withdrawn. Things are not looking good.
What sorts of things change in the village after the elder died?
It's all dreadful, sir. Everything's gone topsy-turvy. When folks get to arguing now, they're so hot-headed, before you know it, they're at one another's throats. Ladies have no patience for kids, nor lads for ladies, nor neighbors for neighbors. Any word might seem offensive and like an insult waiting to happen. Then you've got to fight.
Tragedies such as Vasily's death leave their mark on everyone. It takes time to come to terms with something like this. That doesn't mean this place is possessed by dark forces.
Sure.
How did this elder die?
There was a fire, sir. Flames shooting sky high, and him burning, swearing, speaking curses. And the curse stuck. Those ruins seem a profaned place now. A wicked spirit has taken over the blighted land.
Don't encourage her. Once she gets going, it can't be stopped.
This could also be the work of a salutor.
What do you mean?
The Elder's death. Vasily's death was not peaceful. The Elder died in the flames that consumed his house. The ruins are thought to be cursed, and locals speak of them with horror. I mean, yeah, the villagers are basically right. The Elder's death clearly has something to do with the Bukovac that now stalks the village.
As you were healing me, I had a dream, a vision. But on the borderline of sleep and wakefulness, I thought I saw a salutor. That's what might be influencing the villagers in wailing at night.
They're good people, but none too bright, Victor. I'm afraid they might be talking about a train.
The wise woman was saying the evil spirit is a Bukovac.
Does the creature hunting you rattle chains, slither around, and have a mouth full of giant fangs?
A Bukovac.
Where did this elder live?
I'll show you. Let's allow Vasily's soul to rest for today. Amen.
Bukovac. Superstitions. A woman in the cemetery claims the village is haunted by a lich. His name is Bukovac. The village residents. A peaceful and happy village? Not quite. The villagers are riled up and on the point of breaking, laying the blame for their troubles on the actions of Bukovac. They are trying to defend themselves against this dark force with folk methods. Hey, new journal entry. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that art style is fantastic. They did a really fantastic job with the overall atmosphere and presentation in this game. UI's a little janky, but I've certainly seen worse. I think my biggest concern is just how much player agency there is, because I do notice a lot of the alternate dialogue options I'm picking still tend to lead more or less to the same result. Though we have definitely drawn some different conclusions than I did in my first run. We'll keep that point banked for now. And let's swing back by the village. See if the wise woman's ready to open up to us yet. She was not. So we'll head for the burned homestead instead. Alright, let's give this place a good once-over.
Can you feel it? It's the smell of mystery.
Place of death. A dried blood stain. It is soaked deep into the burned boards of the house. The blood sounds like suffering. It flowed quickly. The wound inflicted with the scissors wasn't large, but it was accurate. Life left the body, the heart went into a spasm, and the mind recognized the end. It lasted for some time, and then the flames came, and the pain resounded anew. So definitely murder. A destroyed door frame. By some miracle, it survived the fire. Thick lines of the wood grain are visible on the frame. They arrange themselves into words, carved sharply, as if by a chisel. They scream about an attempt to break down the door, about the hinges finally letting go. They scream into a space that doesn't respond. Fear has embedded itself deep in the fabric of the door frame. Fear of the flames. And trepidation about losing a loved one. Okay, well, if we're still assuming impetuous person is Luca, then they were clearly here. They were trying to beat down the door, and they apparently succeeded. But the murder weapon was a pair of scissors. That's more a weapon of opportunity. If Luca had come here to kill the Elder, you would think he would have brought, like, an axe or something. Ragdoll. A charred ragdoll. It appears old. The doll is caked with a hard crust of fear. Its layers are like the varnish on an age-old painting. A child's fear. A girl's terror. A young woman's dread. They form a cocoon smelling of turpentine that constricts the throat and forces tears from the eyes. Trace certain, Vesna. Okay. Pieces are starting to fall into place, but I'm not crazy about the picture it's forming. Clearly, the Elder did something to Vesna when she was a child. Something which perhaps fostered her resentment towards him, and may have ultimately led her to murder him. The scissors are more of an improvised weapon of opportunity. And yeah, then Luca must have come out here and tried to stop her for fear of what might happen. But he was too late, so they burned the place down to conceal the crime. Belt. A charred old trouser belt with a heavy metal buckle. The buckle cuts through leather like a razor. It's no longer a boring piece of clothing, but a tormentor's tool that descends on exposed flesh like a vulture. It pecks at it, leaving carmine wounds. Once, twice, thrice. It cuts deep, all the way to the soul. Yeah, that would definitely do it. That's a great way to get someone to resent you for the rest of their lives. Okay, alright, I think we've got a pretty clear picture of what happened. I think it's pretty clear that Vesna killed the Elder, and I think we know exactly why she did it. Only it wasn't enough, as we discovered with the tombstone. She was still festering with resentment, which in turn attracted the Bukovac, which now preys on the village left unchecked. I have to imagine the wise woman will talk to us now, but I also imagine anything she'll say is basically just confirming what we've already deduced from our various independent observations and conclusions. Yeah, in my first run, I missed the tombstone, I missed talking with the wise woman, so ultimately I ended up accusing Luca, and things did not go well. Now, however, we may have all the context and clues we need to seek a slightly more ideal ending.
This house was always full of fear, and its owner was still alive when the house caught fire. Someone wanted to kill him. The fire only covered up the crime. That murder gave birth to the flaw that you attached to, didn't it? I'll find you when I track down the murderer. I know who owns this doll. Maybe I should give them back to her. She ought to know more about what happened here.
Vesna's trace. The same trace can be felt on the rag doll, and the item dropped by the woman. Oh, that's why Victor was being such a weirdo with the apple. He was reading her trace. It did not make that clear. Vesna smells of fear. Her nerves are badly strained. Her heart is trembling. Her fingers are stiff from anxiety, and her mind wanders, lost in the wilderness of fear. I may be able to find her home and discover what's behind her jittery condition.
Victor! I hope you've got what you want now, Thaumaturge, because I think it's time to get out of here.
Why the hurry, father? We are the Tsar's men. How about the donation for the Tsar's army?
There are no Russian outposts here.
I think this is the guy with the nice boots.
You're the guy who trashed our comrades?
Yeah, I think this is a good time for pride to shine through.
I can do exactly the same to all of you.
He's not as weak as he looks. He actually looks better than he did the other day.
But not counting the priest. He's still alone.
Not anymore, I'm not.
All right. Let's go ahead and get that point invested. You know what, we'll go ahead and drop it in heart. Might as well even things out. I am just now noticing, though, that despite the fact that it looks like we're now evening things out, this actually will put our heart 1 point over the other 3 dimensions, because we apparently start with 1 free point of heart, which I guess is to prevent you from getting plot locked. Show some decent foresight from the devs. And let's get those new upgrades slotted. We now have a 50% interrupt, and a 50% double damage. Both of which, honestly, are a bit more appealing to me than manipulating focus, but we'll go ahead and slot everything anyway. Just in case. We'll put the interrupt on the quick attack. That feels like it makes sense. We'll put the gamble on our medium attack. That'll make it a potential 22 to 28 damage. That's a theoretical one-shot on these guys. And as for these two, I guess we'll just toss... We'll toss Relaxation on Distract. And we'll toss Thief of Thought on Strong Attack. I'm not sure we can even use that one. It requires putting the enemies in a suffering state, and I don't know how to do that. And here we go. Looks like they're all using fairly slow attacks, so in theory we can drop one, maybe even two of them before they touch us. And the second guy is the one who's prepping that big attack. So we should probably start with him. Then we'll have Upir distract the third. Might as well have Upir distract this guy too. Nice. Could go for another one-shot. How are we looking on initiative? Nah, let's go for an interrupt. And Upir will whittle. Ow. I did not interrupt. So, you know what? I will just beat the shit out of him. We'll have Upir take care of this guy. He's probably fine. He dead.
You're right, sir.
Me? Yes, but can these salutors also help you in a fight? Can you manipulate people and cast these demons into their minds?
Generally speaking, yes. Are you sure you're right, sir?
Call me Grigori.
Let's head back. I have to visit someone in the village who can tell me more about what happened here.
Ah, yes. This sounds like the foundation for a healthy friendship. And yeah, I think we're done here. So let's go pay the wise woman a visit. Because if this isn't enough to get her talking, then I don't know what is.
Let's take a look around.
What have we here? Saint's icon. A hand-painted icon. I think this is Saint Thecla, the martyr. The wise woman's hands hover around the saint's head. They arrange themselves into gestures, subtle, pure as snowflakes. Words of the spell sparkle like stars and sincerely beseech heaven for protection. For a girl who suffers evil on earth. Who suffers too much of it. Okay, well that is a twist I did not see coming. The wise woman cast a spell on the elder?
You've been going in so many circles, your head will spin.
And there we go. Both options unlocked.
And that tragedy at the Elder's farm, did it affect people badly?
Some less, others more. He was like an icon to some folk here.
But I found out he could be heavy-handed.
He was a drinker and a beater. So, some folk here don't miss him one bit. Have you got many more nosy questions?
Wise Woman's Recollections. The wise woman revealed that Vesna sought help from her regarding her father's behavior. She was fed up with the violence he was inflicting on her.
You cursed him, didn't you? Vesna's father. You put some hex on him, right?
A spell. I help people, yes. Vesna had a problem with her father, and believes in curses, spells, and hexes. Is that all? Because, like I said, I don't want to waste time and die here gabbing with you.
The Elder's temper. Vasily had a dark side. A man who was a rock for the entire village became an abuser at home. He tortured Vesna for many years, turning her life into a nightmare. Elder Vasily. Vasily's death has left its mark on the entire village. People become violent and full of aggression, still full of terrible memories of the fire. On top of that, apparently the Elder was not a crystalline figure, and someone in the village holds a deep grudge against him. I need to look into this. Well, I mean, we already know who it is. It's Vesna.
Vesna came here for help, didn't she? Vasily drank and beat her, and no one did anything about it. So you put that curse of yours on him.
I even went to talk to him. How did you know that?
Hey, what do you know? Turns out we're both magic.
I am a Thaumaturge.
You people's magic. That's something I've got no faith in.
Go on.
For me giving Vasily a piece of my mind, he took it out on Vesna.
And then her husband walked in and killed Vasily, and he's the one my saluter latched onto.
As for the second thing, could be. But it wasn't Luka that killed Vasily. It was Vesna.
Are you sure?
I was there. And until now, only two people knew what happened there. Vesna and me.
Don't be scared. I'll do my best to help you.
Then I think we have to talk to Vesna.
Murderess. It was Vesna who murdered her father. She did it in a fit of passion. Her husband had nothing to do with the Elder's death. Wait, then why was Luka's... Lost in time. Vesna's father was her tormentor. Fear guided her to the wise woman, who sought help for her with the support of earthly and heavenly forces. But that didn't work. Desperate, Vesna reached for the last resort. She murdered her cruel father, handing him over to nothingness. Luka's trace. The shaft of the axe bears a distinct trace of Luka. It's identical to the one on the door frame of the burned homestead, so clearly he was there at some point. And he smashed open the door. See, that's exactly why I thought he was the murderer my first time through, because... Okay, no, see, I'm conflating the murder with the fire. They're two separate things. Vesna and the wise woman were there for the murder, but Luka must be the one who tried to cover it up. We also pulled another Thaumaturge point, which means we can max something out, at least for first tier. Except for Heart. We already have Oop here, so in theory we could go up to second tier. Nah, we'll sit on it for now. I'm not sure there are any skill challenges that even go that high in the demo. I guess all that's left now is to go confront Vesna, as opposed to confronting Luca at the lumberyard, which is what I did my first time through.
Please open up. There's no need to be afraid. Just open the door.
You're gonna wear yourself out banging the door like that. Can't you see nobody there?
I'm looking for Vesna. I have to speak to her.
Am I stopping you? Nobody there. I'm sure she went to see the hubby at work. Go bother them in the clearing instead of pounding on empty house door.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're still headed to the lumberyard. So overall flow was more or less the same as my first run. Village to cemetery to ruins to village to lumberyard. But the actual interactions and discoveries we've made have differed significantly. Yeah, the big difference this time is going to be that we have the wise woman with us.
Again?
This time, it's a matter of life and death.
How is your search going?
Almost finished. I know who's attracting the Bukavach.
Can you reveal that secret?
It's Vesna.
Do you still want to catch that Salutor?
Yes, absolutely.
Despite the risk?
I hope I can persuade you to come with me.
That's an enormous favor you're asking me. I hope you'll be able to return it.
I give my word.
Not much to think about here. If we can help Vesna, then get this nag quick to clearing like Mr. Shulsky asks.
Alright, let's see how this concludes. This should be our finale.
Vesna, child. We have to talk.
I'm not here to fight.
You shouldn't have threatened my wife.
I know what you did.
You don't know what you're saying.
On the contrary, she's the one who brought the Bukavach here. She killed Vasily. When the wise woman's spell didn't have an effect, you decided to finish him off yourself, didn't you? You're the one who killed your father.
And I'd do it again if I could. Get out of here!
Here you are, the Bukavach. Vesna's flaw is mine, and you're mine.
Fighting Wild Salutors. To defeat a Wild Salutor, you must get rid of the shadows that protect him. Vanquishing the shadows will weaken him, but the weaker he is, the more fiercely he will fight back. The bard tells you when the Wild Salutor sends more enemies against you. And we might as well spend that last point. We're pretty much done. You know what? There was actually a high-end heart check my first time through, which I couldn't make right at the end. So yeah, let's go ahead and max that out. I suppose thematically that makes sense, since we've also got Oop here, might as well. And let's slot the new upgrade. We've still got room on strong attack. Oh, or maybe we don't. Interesting. Okay, no, I guess there must be upgrades that take more than one slot. So you can only have one upgrade on an attack skill, It's just that some attack skills can support bigger upgrades than others. Well, that is good to know. Alright, let's do this. Let us face this unbridled wrath. And of course, the first shadow is Luca's. Even in the mindscape, he leaps to shield his beloved wife, flaws and all. Which I suppose is what the Bukovac represents, her flaws. Her rage at what her father did to her, and at the world for allowing it to happen. We'll just pummel him. He's way too focused for distractions. Ow. And what was that? That was DOT. Oh, yep, we're in a suffering state. So we are under a time crunch. We have to finish this quick. Oh, wow. Man, we are tearing it up with that damage boost. And it looks like our next set of specters are Vesna's father and Vesna herself. Yeah, that tracks. Oh, wait, no, I attacked the wrong target. Okay, we'll play this by ear. Ah, my face. Yeah, I deserve that. I meant to distract the father and hopefully crit Vesna. Let's go for a heal. Sorry.
You lose. You're going crazy again, you blind fool.
A little faith, Thaumaturge. Focus on what's true. My voice is true. I am the truth, you see. Look.
Taming a Salutor. You defeated the Bukovac, the D-Dimension Salutor, but you cannot tame him on your own. Rasputin comes to your help. The untamed Salutor won't obey your orders, stops you from developing, and weakens your perception. Fortunately, Rasputin soothed his anger. You achieved the unachievable.
Unbelievable.
How do you feel? Are you all right?
Well, I don't think I'm hallucinating, but that means I'm currently facing a crowd of furious lumberjacks with axes, so I'd say I've been better.
What? What? I'm telling the truth. I do it again. None of you understand anything. It's because of this magician. It's his fault.
The magician didn't kill Vasily. He didn't bring the evil here. You're a witch! To the stake with her! To the stake!
Then kill me too. I was there. I saw everything. Vasily, bah. You're big men now. But when he was beating Vesna for years, no one lifted a finger. Bah. Now you're all so brave against her. Go home, pray better, and leave her alone.
Oh, yeah, that was a much smoother resolution. The other one I got may have involved some people dying. Also, they've kicked us right back to the train station. That's slightly jarring. Though I do love the coachman just cheerfully waving as he sees us off. That's pretty great. Yeah, I see you.
Excuse me, sir. Do you happen to know when the train arrives? The postmaster said it's usually no more than an hour late, so it should be here any moment. I got a tougher question for you.
Pardon?
Will this train get me close to Albuquerque?
I'm afraid that's an ocean away, and even to the ocean you've got a ways to go.
Thank you. Ever since I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque, I can't get my bearings. The things I've seen, sir. Places I've been. I just can't get to Albuquerque.
Yeah, Albuquerque's on another continent. You're not going to get there by train, buddy. Though I imagine there's like a general symbolism or metaphorical meaning to that conversation. Perhaps paralleling our own futile path, our impossible goal.
I wanted to send 2 telegrams, one to Warsaw and one to Paris.
Mr. Shulsky, I was meant to send for you when the driver came to get the mail. My condolences about your father. Do you still want to send something?
Did you come to say goodbye to me?
More like to share my fear. Your condition yesterday, after the fight with that Bukovac, it troubled me. I don't think my treatments are having a long-lasting effect. And you don't look the best. Do you feel all right?
Not really.
I've just heard that my father is dead.
My condolences.
After your treatment, when I was hallucinating, I saw him. I heard his voice for the first time in years. I'm sure it was him. A strange feeling.
Maybe he came to say goodbye. Maybe it was his last chance to speak to you. A prophecy.
I hope not.
What do you intend to do now?
Just a moment ago, I was thinking about Vienna or Budapest and going on from there to Paris, but now I've got to get to Warsaw first. What about you?
Thanks to you, I don't think I have anything else to do here. I had a little time to think about what I saw in your mind. Tell me, Victor, have you ever seen a human skull cracked open on the cobblestones?
I'm going to assume no.
I haven't.
I have. The skull of Franz Ferdinand himself, with his brain spilling out onto the sidewalk. I also saw the white steps in Odessa running with blood. A battlefield blanketed in lethal fog, with faceless beings emerging from it.
Oh, interesting.
This hasn't happened yet, but I saw it as clearly as I see you now. Thanks to you, I know that I can stop it. I know that I am part of history, and I can change it. Even at the cost of scorn, contempt, or my life. You promised me a favor, so Warsaw sounds perfect.
This game takes place in 1905. Archduke Ferdinand isn't dead yet. Rasputin is trying to change the future.
Warszawa! Warsaw! Warsaw! Last stop, Warsaw. Time to wake up.
It's clouding over.
The weather is like my mood.
Aside from the circumstances of the funeral bringing you back, you hadn't thought of ever returning here?
I definitely didn't expect I'd be coming to my father's funeral so early.
I've noticed you two had certain differences in your views on life.
Yes, especially on my life. But admittedly, that's not a very exciting discovery. Is that all you've learned about me on our journey?
You drool in your sleep. Anything in there about Warsaw?
Cheap labor influx causes housing shortage. Strikes, Jews, poverty, violence, the Polish Socialist Party stealing military equipment. I wonder if there are any political cartoons.
Warsaw, end of the line. Welcome to Warszawa.
I think the time's come to ask where you plan to stay.
I'll let you know when I come up with something.
Dear Victor, a feeling of déjà vu washed over me upon receiving your last telegram. Yet again, you're off traveling to some distant lands, while I stay here nursing the hope you will one day visit us in Warsaw. I miss the old days when things seemed so simple. Even if we already knew back then, we may never be truly free. I long for the chance to show you how much our city has changed. To let you hear all these different languages that now echo down the streets we once aimlessly wandered together. Yet all that is mere fantasy. The past is gone, never to return, it seems. Just like you, my dear brother, who risks his life in search of otherworldly beings and their hosts. Sometimes I think it is for the best that I do not share this gift with you and Papa. Maybe that's why I can see things more clearly, just as they are. Therefore, I beg you, Victor, come back to us and reconcile with your father. You never know when it will be too late. Affectionately, your sister, Ligia.
And that's it. That's the demo for the Thaumaturge from Fool's Theory and 11-Bit Studios. And I've got to say, I definitely love what I've seen thus far. I mean, obviously, it's a little rough around the edges, but this is an early cut, which is only available for a narrow window during Steam Next Fest. I imagine they'll do a lot more optimizing as the game gets closer to launch, which is actually sooner than I realized. But yeah, I really love the mix of near modern mundane with anachronistic magic. I like how they blended European mythology with this new, unique hybrid setting they've kind of created on the cusp of World War I. And I like how they worked Rasputin in there. That's intriguing. You know, you often see Rasputin represented in various media outlets as a villain, And I imagine he'll still be a very morally questionable character here as well, much as he was in life. But they really humanize him more in the early encounters so that the inevitable betrayal, I imagine, will still feel like it has some weight behind it, because as posited here, he is your friend. He helped you. You know, you sought out his assistance, and now you're trying to help him in turn. And at least on the face of it, his goal seems to be altruistic. We just also got those early hints that there's something dark inside of him. A yearning for vengeance. Somewhat akin, parallel even, to the flaw that was tainting Vesna. In fact, I'll bet as the game progresses, he will eventually attract his own Salutor. Possibly more than one. Because he clearly has his own deeply ingrained flaws. Which actually does bring up another point as well, because although it was kind of glossed over there, we took on Vesna's flaw at the end as we tamed her Salutor. So in theory, we now have two crippling character flaws. We have Vesna's wrath and our own pride. And there are 6 more Salutors on that track, several of which we glimpsed during that teaser. So, I mean, man, yeah, that really does seem to imply that our boy Victor is going to be quite a mess by the time you get towards the latter half of the game. But that does make it interesting. That said, our time with the Thaumaturge has come to an end for now. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and whether you'd like to see more when the game hits full launch in December. Given the heavily cinematic nature of the game, it does feel like it's going to be an inherently shorter game. This was just a tutorial, but we're 2 episodes in and we've already got 2 Salutors out of 8. I imagine future Salutors will be slightly more difficult to capture, but I'd probably guess this is like a 15, 20-hour game. Anyway, we'll hit the pause button for now, but we may revisit this in the future. Perhaps I will see you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, RobbyB23, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Rowan Church, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Is that all? Because, like I said, I don't want to waste time and die here gabbing with you.